Checking in Saturday evening from my somewhat messy, very messy office with a quick Q&A. Now, I just want to preface this video with the reality that if you ever have a question, feel free to DM me on any of the social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook Messenger, shoot me a message on TikTok, YouTube, email, text message if you have my number, etc. I do answer, often sporadically, because the business world does draw upon a lot of my attention on a consistent basis, but I do like to answer these questions. And what I'm realizing as well is a lot of the questions individuals send me, whether they're related to my own training, client training, business, lifestyle, etc., is that they actually fuel the topics for great content that can not only teach others but inspire and in a general sense add value regularly. And that's kind of what we're always aiming to do, is add value to the lives of others, each one, teach one, etc. So, knowing as much, keep sending those questions in. Today's question was very simple, but it was interesting because the individual who posed the question initially was caught off guard by my response. They did not expect my answer to be as it was, so I figured I'd share it with you as well. They wanted to know what the most challenging exercise I'm currently working on is, and their expectation was for me to say either the deadlift, the squat, or one of the pressing variations that I'm currently working on. And the reality is that it's not heavy deadlifts, it's not a top end set of squats or bench presses or anything like that. In fact, the heavier lifts I don't find to be that, how do you say it? They're hard, but they're simple. And relative to the simplicity and the physical challenge that comes with them, they're also quite enjoyable. You pick the weight up off the ground, and yes, you have to make sure your form is adequate, but it's pretty straightforward. What's actually posing the greatest challenge to me right now is the reintroduction of bodyweight pistol squats. Yeah, single leg squats, pistol squats. They are kicking my butt so bad right now. Literally, my glutes were so sore, not because I can do sets of 20 or 30, but because I can barely do 2 in a row without losing my balance. And the other day I did sets of 5 reps, body weight. You know what it felt like? Felt like a max effort set of 5 on a barbell squat, intensity-wise. And it's interesting because one of my peers actually inquired and said, hey Ben, why would you even do those? Because you squat in the mid 400s, you deadlift in the upper 400s, lower 500s. Why are you wasting your time on pistol squats? And my mindset is as follows, because they wanted to know why I thought it would make me stronger. And the reality is that I don't know whether or not it's going to make me stronger, but I have a hunch that it will. And the reason why is because a lot of times we avoid our obvious weak points because it's frustrating, and sometimes, to be quite frank, it's embarrassing. But I've learned to kind of embrace these evident weak points. And the bigger the gap between a weak point and my output with a relative muscle group, the more I realize I need to prioritize and pull that weak point up, the more I need to focus on towing that bottom line up towards where I perform on the lifts that I'm more proficient at, if you will. And so this is a great example of that. There's really no reason why I should be able to squat almost a quarter ton on my back, yet you take all the weight away, and with one leg I can barely lift my own body weight. This doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. So instead of avoiding it, instead of running from it, I've realized I need to prioritize it. As frustrating as it may be, it is also extremely humbling. And the interesting thing, what I do believe is going to be a contributing factor, is the reality that lower rep sets with adequate load tend to drive a strength adaptation in the body. We know this. That's why sets of 5 are often the go-to rep range for developing a base foundation of strength. And we know that doubles, triples, 4s, etc. contribute to massive yields when it comes to building strength. Well, if you do a bodyweight pistol squat and the 5th rep feels like a 5th rep of a max effort set of 5 on a squat, the relative intensity is actually present to drive a strength adaptation, or so I believe. And if I load the pistol squat gradually, so if I keep the reps under 8, let's say, and continue to add small loads and focus on getting those 3 to 6 reps in on a consistent basis, I should be able to increase my output on the exercise while developing a greater degree of strength. That's my theory, at least. We're going to see in practice how it contributes to my total output, because I really have no idea. But a personal best in the gym is not just an achievement, but the only proof of correct training. So if I continue to hit personal bests in the gym, and the pistol squats are one of my main secondary movements for the next while, then we'll know that even though it might not be the most optimal lift to incorporate, it definitely does contribute to my foundation of strength overall. If I stop hitting PRs or I start regressing, it might not have been the greatest idea ever. So that's the most challenging exercise I'm working on right now. I have no idea if it's going to work, but that's why we experiment. That's why we put exercises like this to the test, and that's why we measure everything we do, so we can see if the yield is progressive and moving us in the direction that we want. So the road to 600 continues. That's the hardest exercise I'm working on right now. It's not a 500-pound deadlift. It's not a 600-pound deadlift. It's a bodyweight pistol squat, and it's extremely humbling. And I'm not going to lie, they're also very frustrating, because I feel like a starfish for about 15 minutes of my lower body volume days, and I just really hope that nobody walks in the gym and sees that. We'll catch you guys soon.